Students, wish you a very good morning. How are you doing? Doing perfectly fine. Very happy to see you all again. In fact, I was seeing some of you regularly. We had up in the sector for a time to match and map. I'm so glad to see you. Right? The thing is that we require computers, and I asked them to have some power action in case if you require. So I wish that you have your computers on and then we can do it together, right? And if you don't have a computer, don't worry, join us in. Friends are for that, isn't it? Okay. Friend indeed is friend indeed. Okay. But still, I think some students are on transition. So maybe we can do a refresher and then we can start off. And so you can go to this particular page, package with the 16D EXP or your own page for the 15 batch. In both pages, the same information is there. And then let me remind you what we were doing here, because we are meeting after a considerable amount of time for some students. So let me remind you what we did. So I just started with a package called what? What's the package we started? This SPSS. Right, that's the package we started. And then we started to continue in 30 seconds. Then we had a break, a long break. Right, from with a complement of SPSS. Because we wanted to map and map up from. So you can see that if you go to whatever page, the package-based data analytics. So we use this page as the main page because I think I was told that you are all students are given access to 16D EXP page. Am I correct? 16D students is correct. Look at that, back to 0. 16 students who have access for the 15 batch. So I think we have access. You can use these plug points, and I asked them to provide us more plug points, and hopefully they will do that. Right. So what did we do under SPSS? That's what we are going to start. So you can go a little bit down, and you can see here, a little bit down. There is the analytics are there. Different analysis there. And of course, we can under here, session 1 introduction. That's a PowerPoint file called session 1 introduction. So that's where we started things, right? And then we came into session number 2, and that's partly we have completed. And I'm going to take you forward from there. Right. So let me remind you the session 1. And again, maybe I could remind you. Okay. These are my sections. So if you go to session 1, introduction, we had gone through earlier. So I just introduced what's SPSS. What's SPSS and other things. So let me remind you quickly, and then let's go to today's session. So this is where we started everything with package-based data analytics SPSS first of all. And these are the contents that we'll be going through during the course, right? At least on the SPSS. Then, yes, I told that there are several statistical packages, like what? SPSS, R, Statistica, EDU, etc., etc. Then I ask you, why do we then do SPSS? I have the SPSS capacity. It's a RP, PSS, And top of that, R is an open source. You don't need to pay a cent for that to use them. But SPSS also you have not paid a cent, right? You need to pay for that if you are going to purchase that package. Although you are using a different version. So why then SPSS? What was the reason? Because out of all these packages, SPSS is what? The most easiest package to learn and apply. And that's why we are using SPSS for our purpose. I could have started with R, and that would be the beginning as well as the end of your package-based data entry course, because you will hate it. It's a very nice thing, a very nice package indeed, but it's hard to learn. So determining my data entry separate. So that might be the first and the last reason, and you might be okay. Own it. But why should we suffer? If there is SPSS, why should we suffer in data? If there is a better option, why we should suffer? Now, if you do have money, but if you have enough money, and let's say you want to get medical attention, let's say you are not well, do you need to go to a government hospital? If you do have money and suffer there in queues? No, you could go to a private hospital and get medical attention immediately from the same doctor who is very rude, who might be very rude there. And then with medicine, they are without medicine. And that medicine also, we have to ask the former health ministry, the quality of the medicine available in certain places. He's being pressured for that, even at the moment. But still he is enjoying the prison hospital food. What an idol, isn't it? So likewise, then if you have money and if you can have access, why do you need to suffer? Likewise. So what likewise? If you have this better package for SPSS, why do you need to suffer? Like studying R and all how to import data, export data is. But later on, once you study SPSS, later on, when you're going to do your MPhil, PhD, or whatever the other advanced studies, you might just study R. But so far, what's the best part to study? That's SPSS because of its ease of understanding and application. But here you will see that there's no Excel listed. Why is that? Excel line. Excel is not. Why? You see Microsoft Excel, you know this. Excel is not there. Why Excel is not there? There's a reason for that, guys, right? With all due respect, Excel is not what? A statistical machine. Excel is what? Good job. Right. Excel is what? Excel is a general purpose spreadsheet package. It has, in fact, certain statistical capabilities. Indeed, could do certain statistics, but again, it's not like SPSS. SPSS is a dedicated package for statistical analysis. So I will give you two good reasons why we should not use Excel for statistical analysis and use SPSS instead. Why is that? I will give you two good solid reasons. What are the two good solid reasons? So look at your notes, right? And you can tell me. You don't need to remember everything. It is not an exam. I'm just reminding you what they were. One in one. So I give you two good solid reasons why we should not use Microsoft Excel for statistical data and use instead what? SPSS. What are the two reasons? Number one, of course, SPSS has more statistical analyses than Microsoft Excel. That was the first reason I had. Second reason, the answers that you get in SPSS is more precise than Microsoft Excel. So we go for precision. Accuracy. More accurate answers are obtained where? In Excel. So these are the reasons
and why we did study about this package. So SPSS, we understood it's a graphical, it has graphical interface, and it's a statistical package that could do data management as well in a graphical environment. So that's SPSS. And then we understood how to input data into SPSS. There are several methods, but I told you that there are two main methods. What are the two main methods? You can just open SPSS and directly enter data into SPSS. What's the other method? The other method, you can import data. If the data is already in Excel, you can import that data from Excel to SPSS. Do you need to re-enter the data into SPSS manually? No. If you want, you can do that. If you have nothing to do in your life, you can entering data. If some people don't have that much of things to do, then in that case, you can re-enter the data manually. But on the other hand, you don't need to risk your time. You can just enter the data. You can import data if the data is already in Excel or in some other formats as well. It could be CSV, it could be text format, in whatever format, but it has to be the proper structure. Did we import data from Excel to SPSS? Yes or no? Yes, indeed. We used that. Right? We used it, and I think you saw what we need to do. So, what was step number one? If you are going to import data from Excel to SPSS, what was step number one? Structure the data first. In Excel, you have to structure the data properly. That's number one, isn't it? Then after that, you can follow the steps. And after that, close SPSS, close Excel before you import anything. First, structure the data in Excel properly. Then do what? Close Excel and then import. So basically, you open that. Basically, you open that in the Excel data file in SPSS and save it as an SPSS. Yes. So, what was the extension of an SPSS data file? .sa. Very good. .sa. Then SPSS has a separate output file. What's the extension of that? .std. If you cannot remember, perfect. No worries. Just refresh your knowledge. I'm just reminding you that you might need to remind yourself. And then what? But someone is done it, no done. So they do not know that they do. That's a big, massive problem. They might think that they know, but they do not. Isn't it? So that's why it's always good to know that we do not know and we have to start. This comes. Nice to see you all after some time. So we had a little bit of a lengthy break. Right. So then I told you how to open SPSS, and I hope now at this moment all have installed SPSS and you have got access to SPSS. Am I correct? Okay. Right. Then we understood that there are two windows in the data editor window. When you open SPSS, what opens is the data editor window. It has two sub windows. What are those two sub windows? We are getting the power bar, so if anyone wants, you can plug in that bit. So, I think that's true. We'll settle the two. So we can. So you can see now we have got backup. That's what we are doing, get backup, right? And I encourage you to bring your computers if you are going to have critical lectures. I encourage you to bring your computers so you can do it with me. And if you get stuck, you can ask me how to do it. So that's the best thing to do it with me. Do it with me. And online, real time, offline, real time. So The data editor window in SPSS has two sub-windows. What are the two sub-windows? Variable view and the data. There are two sub-windows, variable view and the data. And if you are going to create a data set in SPSS, you start with what? Data view or the variable view? Variable view. So you define what? In variable view, you define what? The variable characters. You define the variable characters. And then once you define the variable characteristics, starting from its name, label, decibels, etc., etc., etc. Like even you can specify missing values, which I'm going to ask you very shortly. What's the secret? So what's the difference between blank value, amount, blank, zero, and missing? I explain using what? An example. So let's come to that. So you are going to define the variable properties. Variable properties, and after that, what you do? You define the variable properties, and after that, what you do? You go to the database and enter it. That's what we did exactly. We took an example data file, an example file, and we applied that knowledge. So hope you could remember that. I hope you can remember that. So this is the file. And here there are certain things that we understood, that instead of male, female, we used what? Did we type male and female? No. We specified what? 0 and 1. No, 1 to 1 female, 2 male, likewise any number. Just not in order. Just those are called nominal weight. Here is the matter status. So you can see we coded that. So the coding was this. I just gave you a code. Right? Gender, male, female, matter status, married, unmarried, then satisfaction from highly dissatisfied to highly satisfied. So we discussed these things, and we also created the dataset. And these videos are there, so please watch them if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, this is where I taught you about the difference among. That's the things. Missing data, blank data, and zero data. I'm not going to ask you, don't worry. But you will be tested that in the exam. So I even explained to you how to define missing data. How to define missing data that we discussed. And then the naming rules. There are several naming rules. These are not relevant to the labels of variables, but these are relevant to the naming of the variables. Right? When naming the variables, there are certain rules that you have to keep in mind. What are certain rules that you could remember? Can you have duplicate variable names? You can put one, you can't. Can you start a variable name with a number? Number you put. Can there be spaces in variable names? Can you have a variable name starting with a simple letter instead of a capital letter? Simple letter is you can have any mixture of simple letter, but you can start the number. Can start. Don't leave any spaces. So, in fact, if you really want to leave space, let's say EMP employee, like EMP age, EMP, and you need to leave space, but you are not allowed to leave space. But you really need to put something in between them, EMP and age. Then what's the thing that you could do? Put an underscore. Put an underscore. That's allowed. So likewise, we understood all these things in variable naming rules. So all the videos are there, so you could check that, and you could, if you want, you can look at that. You are very much welcome to look at that. So then, I taught you about the 4 levels of measurement. Variables could fall under these 4 levels of measurement. It starts with what's the lowest level of measurement. In fact, you cannot measure, you can only categorize them. What's that? Nominal. Nominal level, can you give an example for that variable? Let's call one. Gender, is it? Religious affiliation, your political affiliation, this is topic, isn't it? Political. Those are all not
But then what's the second level? Second level is a ordinal. Ordinal. Ordinal level, you can put that into an odd. That's right. Then comes what? The interval level. The interval level. What's the interval level variable? Where you have now what? Those intervals. Right? The intervals are the same. Highly disagree, neutral, agree, and highly. So the intervals are the same. But in an ordinal variable, no, the intervals are not the same. Can you give an example for an interval level variable? Likert scale variables are good example. And what's the difference now? What's the highest level of measurement? It is called a ratio. Is it? What's the difference between interval level variable and the ratio level? What's the difference? You have to go to your O levels. You have your science teacher taught different things. But this also should have been taught to you by your science teacher regarding temperature. What then? The temperature does not have a real meaning. When you say Celsius 0, there is Fahrenheit 12. Okay? When you say Fahrenheit 0, there is Celsius. Which is not true. So these are called what? These are variables. I don't know. So that's the problem in interval level. But ratio level variables, yes, indeed, 0 means there's a meaningful meaning. It's not a simple zero. There's a meaningful meaning. Now, if it says in your bank account it's 0, let's say, person bank account says 0 money, they don't allow to make it 0, but again, let's say 0. Is it really 0? Yes. Bank account is 0, 0. Right? Going online from abroad. Right. So those have a real 0. Revenue of a company. Does it have a real 0? No. Maybe bank company. So likewise, what you have to understand is ratio level variables have a real 0. Now in SPSS, do we have all these 4 levels? Do we have all these 4 levels? No. Instead, we have 3 levels. What are the 3 levels of measurement? What is what? Nominal. The other one is called what? Ordinal. The third one is called what? So what they have done is they have taken these 2 levels, interval and ratio level, and call it what? As A. We did discuss all these things. So I'm reminding you, so that's why I want to. I can see it from your faces. You cannot remember. And it's very normal, isn't it? I remember everything. No. So that's why we have to remember. You may not do not need to remember. Right, but you might not be able to remember everything, and this what I then I'm just reminding you must be. Then we can go through today's thing. Right. So these things we discussed. Okay. So if you cannot remember what you need to do, revise. Look at the videos, revise it. And here I have given an example for an ordinal variable where this is the finish line. The first person, the leader one, that even if the first person to is at the finish line, but number 2 would be here. But you can see number 3, I think very far. So the distance between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3 are different. So these are good example for what? Ordinal level. It's ordinal. You can just put that in order, that's all. But the distance are, but in a Likert scale, you can see this is a what interval level where you have equally. We discussed all these things. If you can remember what you have to do, all the videos are there. Please watch the video. In the 16 EXP page, it's all there.
right? And then import from Excel, how to import from Excel, that also we covered with an example. But first thing what you have to do is, even at the beginning I asked you, right, if you are to import the data from Excel, what's the first thing you have to do? Structure the data set properly. If you don't structure the data set properly in Excel and try to import, it will be an utter mess. Right, therefore, number one, structure the data set. So we did an example for that, and I showed you an unstructured, not properly structured, improperly structured file, as well as a properly structured file. I explained to you, and I showed you. And then we understood how to calculate variables using SPSS using patient data. We provided bonus for patients for their blood pressure reading. I hope you remember this was not actual situation. I think blood pressure is very good. So, but again, since how to sort data, how to do that. Okay, so that's where we stopped under session number 1. Introduction. Any questions that you would like to clarify? Is it clear? You would say yes. I would never get an answer that says, because we have doubts that would be clarified. Yes. But you are anytime welcome to ask me any questions, right? That is not clear. And again, I encourage you to do it. Apply. Right? Is knowledge power? Then knowledge is power. Indeed, I agree 50% with that statement. Knowledge becomes power when you apply that knowledge. Knowledge with application is the real power. People have knowledge, but they don't apply that. You know that you need to study, that you need to invest in yourself, in terms of your time, in terms of energy, for your betterment of your future. You know that you have the knowledge, but you don't apply it. Application. So therefore, what I would say is, knowledge itself is not power. Knowledge with application is power. So how can we apply this knowledge? Bring your laptop and apply. So I'm going to give you time. So in a physical lecture, it's very easy to do that, right? To do that. But in an online lecture, usually it's difficult by watching the lecture the same computer screen. To do it might be difficult. So therefore, you have the option, you have the opportunity, not the option, you have the opportunity, bring your laptops and apply and understand. If you don't, like maybe you have a desktop and you are unable to bring that, no problem, then share with a friend. Perfectly fine. What's wrong? Isn't it? Friends are friends. Friend in need is friend indeed. Friend in need is friend indeed. Right, so that was very briefly the content of chapter 1 or the introduction session. So we completed this satisfactorily and hope you went through this. We will revise the context. Right, then we went into session 2, descriptive statistics. So that's where we started analysis. Right, analysis is where we started in session number 2. We started with something called descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics. So before you do any analysis, any statistical analysis, first of all, you need to understand what's the objective of doing. Why did you do it? And so I ask you, why are you doing this degree? My father told me that I was writing at home. Together up there, the last thing then my boyfriend girlfriend mark the why are you doing this? That is your purpose. Likewise, when you are going to do analysis before that, you need to know what you are doing the same. And why are you doing degree by this? To get the degree.
get to get the degree. If they apply the account, that's why I are doing. Degree is unknown has clear. Why are you doing the degree? Who will do the degree? They have a better, at least if they have a better, it will be a stepping stone to get a good job, a good to set up a good career, and to lead a good life. Financial sector, again, this degree will provide a very good foundation for them. Right? But you can just have a piece of paper for the deficiency, and if you go to the market, they will take it. There are enough people degree holders for that. Right, in the top floor, then you can cut your shit. So that's why SAD caters a unique degree, but it itself is not enough. They are going to look at what? Not only the degree certificate, they are going to look at you. Your attitude, your knowledge, the skills, and your very importantly, your mindset. Also includes attitude. There are very skillful people but have negative attitude. I will following the survival. That's what they do. That's kind of attitude some people. They are very clever, but they don't want to. This is the kind of attitude. That's why you need to understand, okay, what market requires, and then, of course, the knowledge that we give, the application that you have, the skills that you like to have, as well as the attitude, that's the personal transformation that you have to make it done. Maybe you can meditate, you can see some other kind of. You can just go to Google or YouTube and say, how can I have positive attitude in my life? Just type that simple question, or go to ChatGPT. Your favorite, go to ChatGPT and say, what? Tell me, how can I have positive attitude? I'm a little bit pessimistic person. How could I have a positive attitude in all in my life? ChatGPT will give you excellent recommendation. Isn't it? It usually gives very good training. That will help you to advance, because if not, you might have all the knowledge, you might have all the degrees, you might have a PhD, but you won't be recruited by organization. Because they don't want just the degree, they don't want just the knowledge. They want what? People with positive attitudes, skills, and a mindset. It's a mindset. That's what they do. That makes a huge difference in life as well. So, to think how to resolve problems, a solution-oriented mindset, and then you'll always see a problem as an opportunity to solve, contribute. Right? I'm the coordinator of the master program, right, of the master project accounting program of the Department of Accounting, and coordinator the director of everything over there. So then I got to know that the non-academic strike is going on. Universities, state universities, not here, state universities. So I was told that how long the Zoom works. So immediately I went and I tried to find solutions. Because today morning at 8 a.m. we had theory, their lectures are going. So I gave several options to the lecture. At 11 p.m. I was giving this option. I made sure the lectures are going forward without any interruption. I would have just told what? One line to all the lecturers and students, the lectures are cancelled. Because the non-academics are not allowing us to do it. But I didn't question that. So these students are students who pay and who come for the postgraduate studies. Not undergrads, right? Undergrads also should be, of course, we have to talk to them, but these people are paying and they are adults. They have a limited time. We agreed to do the course within 1 year, and we have finished it. We have taken the responsibility as a department. Immediately went into, different solutions. Now, finish. 9 p.m. I got that information. By 11 p.m., all the options given and things are set. So what I'm telling is that's the attitude that we should have. If I was a negative-minded person, a pessimistic person, thinking everything over and nothing could be done in this world, I would have just sent one email to all lecturers as well. And the students would now get to have this in the moment, but the lectures are cancelled. No, I think all one night lectures are. Because the non-academics, they stop the USB servers. Yeah, we going to the Zoom hangouts through that. But then I understood that we don't need to go through USB servers. We can go directly to the Learn server. Get it done. So here the instructions in lectures. For some lecturers are unable to access, then I give other options. So likewise, we need to think always sort of solution oriented, having a positive mindset, and try to empower them. That will help in turn us. We have positive recommendations, and it will be a good stepping stone. That's what knowledge itself is not it. Knowledge is application is what is everything. So that's why I encourage you to bring up your laptops. Oh, if you don't have your laptops, perfectly no problem. Share with someone who's having a laptop. That's great. Right. So I asked you why are you going to get the degree, and of course the thing is yes, it will give you an excellent future. So likewise, behind all these analyses, there is an objective. What's the objective of doing descriptive analysis? Why do you do descriptive analysis? You say you are telling us to do, and we are doing it. Is that the reason? No. Why do you do descriptive analysis? To describe it. So the users, the readers that is going to look at your final report would like to know the sample, about the sample. Right? For example, what's the gender frequency? What's the gender proportion of your sample? Right? What's the age distribution of your sample? What's the maximum minimum value? What's the average value? Likewise, they will want to know information about the sample. So to get an understanding about the sample, to describe about the sample, you do what? As the name says, descriptive statistics. The name descriptive statistics come from that. Describe the sample. Describe the sample. So you do descriptive statistics, you could describe the sample out of that. So we understood that there are different descriptive statistics that you could apply. So these are certain descriptive statistics. So as I told, I have given a note. Why do you do that? To describe the sample. So that's why you do that. Then what type of descriptive statistics are available? You can see these are types of analysis that are available. What are the analysis that we discussed? We discussed only one up to now. Then after that, we applied that knowledge. So we understood that there are different descriptive analysis that you can perform. What are the descriptive analysis that you can perform? You can perform frequency analysis. Then what? You can perform measures of central tendency, dispersion, distribution, and even measures of location. We can apply those. The third one, you can perform what? Graphical analysis. So it's time for me today. Let's do some graphical analysis. So SPSS is a subject that you can apply your knowledge immediately versus it's not theory. So you can see these are the three analyses. So how to decide what to perform? It says frequency analysis, then measures of central tendency, then graphical analysis. Now let's take these two categories of analysis. Frequency analysis and other one is what? Measures of central tendency, dispersion, distribution, and location. Now, when would you perform frequency analysis? So what kind of variables? Now you have to understand that very carefully. Based on the nature of the variable, right? The particular descriptive statistics that you apply might be different. Keep that in very, very mind. So, if I ask you this for an example, let's say now I'm going to have a variable onto a gender. So I'm going to code, okay, 0 and 1. Right, 0 and 1. 0 females and 1 males or vice versa, whatever it is. I'm going to just code it, and I'm going to have a variable. And I'm going to take the mean value of that. Does it make sense?
to take a mean value of that kind of variable? No. So that's what we call what? So gender is a variable of first nature. It's a categorical variable. A categorical. So remember, for categorical variables, what's the best analysis that you can perform? Frequency. So therefore, why not you take down? So take down, say frequency analysis, and in front of that put a small dash. Frequency analysis, and in front of that put a small dash. Put a small dash and say for categorical variables. For categorical variables. For categorical variables. Put a small dash. Frequency analysis. Put a small dash, and you can say for categorical variables like Gen. You do frequency analysis usually for categorical variables like Gen. And we'll do that again, and we did that, and I'll remind you how to do that by taking a data set again. Then, measures of central tendency dispersion distribution. Those are for continuous variables. Continuous variables. Right? Continuous variables. Right? Measures of central tendency dispersion and distribution are for continuous variables, and that's what I'm going to teach you today. But again, I'm going to remind you what we did under frequency analysis. You might not be able to remember, you might be coming after a certain time. So I'm going to again explain to you how to do frequency analysis. And what you have to remember is frequency analysis perform what? Variables. Categorical. Like gender, or maybe it might be the religious affiliation, political affiliation, your district that you are in, likewise different kinds. Okay. Right, let's see how to again do this. And so put a small dash and write here, frequency analysis, put a small dash and write for categorical variable. Then for these measures of central tendency, dispersion and distribution is for continuous variable. For continuous variable. What are continuous variables? Between 2 points, we put the data, and between 2 points, it can take any value, including decimal. Age, is it a continuous variable? Yes. Age between 2 points, let's say 20 and 30, it can have any value. Person can have, okay, 23.5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Right. How about salary? Is it a continuous variable? Yes. You can put these as categories as well. Now, salary, you can do some brackets. That's also categorized, can be in category, but we are not talking about that. We are talking about the real value which includes there. Right. Okay. So now I'm going to give you a small task, and I'm going to walk around and see how you could perform frequency. Don't worry, no, I'm not going to walk around. Right. Now let's try to see how to apply these things. But before that, okay, as I told you, right? Here I've got small note as well. For categorical nominal variables like gender, do frequency analysis. So these are the note that I just asked you to write. Then for continuous variable like income, your monthly gross income. Measures of central tendency, dispersion and distribution, as well as location to be applied, which I am going to teach you, but location based variables as well. Right. You can take down, right? Or you can take down. These are additional slides for the students who come for the lecture. Okay, you and I. The additional slides. So what type of analysis? Right. Now for applying the knowledge that you got now, you know got the knowledge now, knowledge plus application. Now application times, right, comes, and I'm going to teach you how to do that, which I already did for the frequency analysis, but I'm going to again remind you how to do this. So right, let's do a frequency analysis as well as the other analysis by taking this particular data set, which is called session 2 employee intentional leave.sch. So go to your limits. Go to your limits and you can download without it. So can you see it? Session 2 employee intention to leave. There's a file called session 2, employee intention to leave. Please download it and open it. To open it, you need to have SPSS installed in your machine. Here you go. You can accept that, and you can do have those more issues don't have. You can start. The language you can indicate this and work further. And but you need to have SPSS installed. Yes, okay. Yes. Sir, आपके उपकरणों में कंप्यूटर सरंग में मेरे प्रश्न है डेस्कटॉप ये ना कोई बताइए ना ठीक है तो ये ना अपन तो मेन फ्रेम से right. Now open that file. Once you download, you can open that file. Session 2 employee intention to leave. I'm going to open that. Okay, I have gone to my files and it says, okay, session 2 employee intention to leave. So when you get a data set of this nature, first understand what's the date, right? Without that, you cannot analyze it, right? First understand it, and you can see this data set has how many variables? How many variables are there in this data set? You can look at the screen. And then how many variables are there? There are 11 variables. There are 11. You can see ID, gender, age, job satisfaction, intention to leave, training, good working conditions, smoking, whether you are a smoker or not, child, whether you have kids or not, and then salary. So these data, this questionnaire was given to a set of employees in this organization and responses obtained. How many responses are there? You can go to the data view. You can go to data view. And then you can see, you can press again, control and the down arrow key. So it will take you to the last observation. So how many observations are there? There are 439 observations. There are 430. You can go to the data view. And like in Excel, you can press what? Control and the down arrow. It will take you to the last observation. So you can see there are 439 observations there. Right. Now let's try to see. Now again go back to the variable view. Right. Now tell me, there are 11 variables. Tell me, gender. Is it a what kind of variable? A categorical variable or a continuous variable? How is being coded? One male and what was the one? Two female. Yeah, the coding is there, one male and two female. So gender is what? A categorical or continuous variable? A categorical. Can there be equal 1 to 1.5? Yeah, could be. But again, we don't recognize the middle variable. So this, how about the age variable? Is it a categorical variable or a continuous? It's a continuous variable. It can be a categorical variable sometimes if the age range is like 30 to 35, 35 to 40. But here see, is there any category? No. Age, there is no value labels given, categorical labels are not given. And if you go to the data set, also you will see, you go to the data set, you will see the age, the real age is written, no category. So that's what the continuous. So likewise, first of all, when you get a data set, right, you need to look at whether it's a categorical or whether it's a continuous variable. Is it easy to understand this? That's the thing. If there are categories given, then it's a categorical. Like gender, there are categories given under the variable. But if it is continuous data, there's no categories given. Just the real age is given. Understood the difference? Simple. Then tell me about another variable. Now look at smoke away. Is it a continuous variable or a categorical variable? Smoke variable. What is it? It's a categorical variable. Whether you are a smoker or not, yes, no. Then how about child variables? Whether you have kids or not? It's a categorical variable. Now, kids, how you have coded it? Yes, you have, no. Now, yes, number one. Yes, no. The Mehani, Lama in another person. Yes, no. 1, 2. Can they have 1.5? Maybe they might even tell. Usually you have. Whether you have kids or not. Particularly politicians might forget. Some people might even forget the count. How many wives they get. Legal then. Right. Yes. Likewise, you can see categorical and continuous variables. So I told you, you perform frequency analysis for what kind of variables? For what kind of variables you perform frequency analysis? For categorical variables. Right, which we did earlier. I am going to remind you again, right? How to do frequency analysis. Now you tell me, I taught you already. Frequency analysis, how you perform? You go ahead. So let's perform frequency analysis for gender, child, and smoker variable. So please write down which we did and let's do it again. So you will remember how to do it. So performing frequency analysis, performing frequency analysis for gender, smoke, and child variable. For gender, smoke, and child variable. Okay, I forgot everything. How to do a frequency analysis? All analysis are in which menu? Analyze. So you go to analyze menu. Then what? Okay. Then descriptive. There. So then you are done. You write down by putting small arrows. You say analyze, then put a small arrow and say descriptive statistics, and then put a small arrow and say what? Frequency. We go to frequency. Analyze, descriptive statistics, frequency. Right? So put small arrows and write down, then you will remember. And when you go home, practice this. Right? Practice makes what? If you want to master something, practice. Malcolm Gladwell says that if you want to be an expert in your profession, you need to practice how many hours? Let's say you want to be an expert accountant, accounting expert, or an auditing expert. How many hours that you need to practice? According to Malcolm Gladwell, 10,000 hours. He has come up with a magic number. He says Bill Gates became so successful an expert programmer by practicing that number of hours. Steve Jobs said, and Mozart. Who's Mozart? Steve Jobs' brother. Mozart's taken for Steve Jobs gave. Only.
Modra is a old age what? Compost. It's a classical music compost. There's nothing to do with change of days. Without the little compost classic music is one of the master. He came up with masterpiece. That's secret. Right, 10,000 hours. So I don't ask you to practice 10,000 hours. I ask you to practice at least 2 hours per week. Good. But if you want to be experts, but you have to practice your craft. Then only you have to be experts. Anything that you do, if you want to get excellent, if you want to get better, if you want to get excellent, if you want to be an expert, you need to practice what you do. If you want to speak well, practice speaking. If you want to do computing well, practice computing. If you want to do business well, do that well. If you want to study well, do that well. That's all. So you have to invest your time. That differentiate between mediocre, lackluster performance, then with excellent performance. There's no shortcut sometimes in life. Particularly for success in life, there's no shortcut. For short-term success, there are shortcuts. So if I want to make money, how can I make money? There are different ways I could make money. Right? The drugs. Make massive amount of money. I can get into politics and make massive amount of money. But see what happens. What happens to some politics? Or health ministry. Daily I could trouble there. Now what has happened to the former one, right? Right? Now the former minister. Now where is he? He wanted to make quick money, it seems. I don't think it's alleged. So what happened? So he did certain things. Now he's in prison hospital. He's in prison, but in hospital. Short-term success. Short-term. Now he's even unable to pay his house rent. Right. Thank you. Let's take you want to how many months the rent has not been paid for? The area like from 4 months. Why he has to pay rent? Because the other people did not burn his house. So he was given a home on rent, but now so what pathetic situation is it? How can I get qualified investigation? How did it? Answer. So short-term success. Long-term success can be gained only through mastery, dedication, commitment. That's not shortcuts in life. For purpose. That was not. You say yes, both smart and hard. Working on the smart wouldn't ensure success. You have to continuously apply your knowledge, continuously engage yourself, practice. This is very true for this particular subject that I am teaching you, SPS. Practice. Practice makes perfect. Right. Okay. So then after that, what? Analyze descriptive statistics, you go to that. Frequency. Frequency. Go to frequencies. Right? Then now you have all the variables listed over here. Employee ID and other variables are listed in one column. And in the next column, you can see what the variables that you need to analyze is there. So if you want to get variables to the other box, what you do? You select those. Say let's say gender. Then you need smoker. Whether the smoker will the smoker as well as you have gender. So gender, smoker, child variables are taken one by one. Right. That's it. And just make sure it's there by default. Just make sure that this tick is there. It's by default there. That tick is there where it says to generate frequency table. If you don't want to see the frequency tables, you can remove that tick and press OK, but don't do it.
Right. Display frequency tables, of course, it's there by default. It's there, unless you unless you remove that purposely, but you don't need to, and you press OK. Okay, within seconds you can see some nice tables, frequency tables have come. Now you can analyze these frequency tables. You can see gender of the employee, male, female. You can see altogether how many employees are there. The frequency indicates the number first. A number is how much? 439. And out of that, you can see 185 are males and 254 are females. And the percentage is given 42.1% and 51.9%. So which have the majority? Males or females? It's females. In this sample, the majority are females. So the management of this particular organization will need to particularly cater the interest of what? Females, because almost 50% are females in this particular organization. Likewise, we have to understand these are the management insights you could get out of this analysis. This is not just perform analysis for the sake of perform analysis. But you are not going to get the degree because you need the degree. To get the degree, you are going to do the degree will be a stepping stone. The degree will set the foundation of your future career. Right. Okay. So, if you are going to interpret this, you can use what? You can say, okay, this would 57.9% is the statement. So basically, majority are the key. That's the insight that you have to the manager. Here you can see percent and valid percent are the same values, isn't it? Percent and valid percent are the same values. Now here you can see the percent is 42.1 and again the valid percent is 42.1 and the females 57.9% and 57.9%. Is there a difference? No. But is there a difference between those two? Yes. What's the difference? Look at the next. Very good. Good dance. What's the difference? See the next one, you can see the difference perfect. What's the difference? You can see, oh, I'm a smoker. You can see, yes, no. Yes, it says 85 people. Then no, 355. Now, percent you can see, there are 3 people who have not answered. That's called missing values. You are supposed to give an answer, but you have not given an answer. That's called a missing value. Can you, now if I ask you whether you are a smoker or not, can you leave it blank? No, you have to tell whether you are smoking or not. You are killing yourself or not? Are you suiciding yourself or not? As well as you are killing your loved ones or not? Silence. Smoking is there. So you can see 3. Here there are 3, and for the percent, it has given a percentage for these missing values as well. Can you see that? 0.7% is allocated here. 0.7 is allocated for these 3. Percentage here. So that's how the 100 comes. 19.4%, 80%, 99.3. You can see the total is 0.7%, 100%. But if you look at the valid percent, has it considered missing values? No. It has ignored the missing values. It has taken only the valid response. It has not taken the missing response. So you can see here, the valid percent has taken this 436 as 100%. These 3 people who are missing is taken off because altogether there are 439 employees. But who have responded is 436, which means equal to 100. And then it says, yes, 19.5, no, 80.5. For your analysis, for your interpretation, what's the percentage you take? Is it the percent or the valid percent? Valid percent, absolutely correct. You have to consider valid percent. Right. Are you interested in people who did not answer your question? No. Why should you be interested if they are not interested in answering? Definitely. They will not answer, they don't answer. So they have to just ignore those guys who did not respond and only take the valid percent information. Oh, your hand. Understood? Okay, how about do you have children? Who is the majority? Who is the majority? Yes or no? Yes, no. 57.8% are not having kids. But other than 42.2%, at least have one. At least have one. So you can see. So therefore, I'm going to take 42.1% or 42.2%. Take 42.2% because you are going to take the valid percent point. Valid percentage point. So that's what we have discussed in summary up to now. Then after that, we did certain exercises, right, to consolidate our knowledge. And that's where we stop. So I gave an overall summary up to now because we met some students which regularly during past weeks. Then you, right, the 15 batch, I did not meet you maybe for how many months? 1 month. So that's why I just reminded you the content. Any questions up to now? Is it clear? Just I reminded you because I just could have started with, okay, let's start with descriptive statistics, measures of interpretation, equation, and location. And started teaching you that, no, that's not the, we have to remind you, and then you feel easy. Right? That's the way that we have to make, because brains are, it shuts down. If it finds an obstacle, what happens? The brain shuts down. That's how brains work. So we have to treat our brains like children. We have to treat the brains as children. Make it very comfortable, then it will serve. If you make it certain things difficult for it, it will not serve. And that's the point of the brain that you can use for your advantage. So let's say you are addicted to fonts. Your PH or other. Right. You are addicted to fonts. Yeah, you want to look at fonts. Let's say the small devices that tiny devices that you cannot avoid. So if you want to really make your brain not use that, what you have to do? Take the phone and smash it on the floor? No. Because you require. Don't smash your phones on the floor. It's costly and your phones are might be 200,000, 300,000, it's an iPhone 500,000. It's very expensive. So what you should do? Make it difficult to access. So if you are studying, what you can do? Keep the phone in another room. So you have put a bag. More difficult. Then what will happen? Then brain thinks, okay, we have to go to the next room, this one, then this step. Likewise, use that to your advantage. Right? The childishness of your brain, use it for your advantage. Make bad things difficult. Good things easy. Bad things difficult. If you are addicted to something that you want to stop, make it a bit difficult. Taxes. Then gradually that bad addiction goes to sound the brain thinks. Why you should do that? Why you should take the extra effort? But really, if you have the urge, then you go and get the phone and make the phone and keep it there and come back. And maybe the room there and put it in a room. And put it in a drawer. Go into that and also make everything fine. But in our phone, there's a feature that certain phone calls you can make what? First. Differential treatment can be given for certain calls like from home. You can call me because some important calls might be, or maybe from your data or whatever. Likewise, you can make so likewise use certain strategies to have less distraction. Because number one key for our students that distracts them is these distractions from their phones and from their friends, etc. I don't say that be away from friends and be in a cave, but everything has a time, and time is it. So we chat you gossip for looking, allocate a time. During that time. And another distraction is emails. Every time you get emails and you are very much addicted, yes, you might be, that's correct. But again, reserve 2 times at a day to check your emails. These are some time tested strategies to be more productive in your life. Productivity is everything when it comes to life. Studies, the profession or right. Okay, now let's now discuss the next part. That's where we are trying to now see the measures of what? Central tendencies. So please take down. Estimating. 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 Measures of central tendency. Measures of central tendency. Estimating. Measures of central tendency. Measures of central tendency. Dispersion. 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 Measures of central tendency. Dispersion. Distribution. 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 And location. And location. And location. Right. Now let's see how to estimate these things. Again, you don't need to do anything. SPSS will do that and give you the output, and what you need to do is what? Just interpret it. Can we see how to do that? Okay. Now, you go to the data set. You go to the data set. Okay. And tell me for which variables do we do these measures of central tendency, dispersion, distribution, and location? What kind of variables do we calculate there? For continuous variables. Now, there are two continuous variables. Of course, there are Likert scale questions as well, which you can apply that safely, there's no problem. But there are two variables that are really on continuous scale. What's that? One is the age variable. The other one you could call the salary variable. Age and salary are two variables that are continuous. Now, on the other hand, gender, then child and smoker variables are what? Categorical variables. These are continuous variables. Continuous in between 2 points, it can take anywhere. Between two ages, like say 20 to 30, it can have anywhere. So you can see here, you go to the data set, you can see it much better. Data set is far from the paper. So you go to the data view, and you can see here, age is given, the real values are given, so it is continuous. And also, if you see salary, the real values are given, even with in thousands, these salaries expressed in $1,000, maybe $1,000. Okay, it's also given what? The real value. Right. Now let's see how to calculate the measures of central tendency, dispersion, and distribution for maybe the age variable. So you do it for age variable, then you do it for salary variable after. I teach you how to do both. Right. Please take down calculating the above at the end of it, calculating the above for the age variable. Calculating the above for the age variable. For the age variable. Calculating the above. What are the above? Measures of central tendency, dispersion, distribution, and location. Let's see how to calculate these things for the age variable. That's what we are going to do. There are three methods to do that. Three methods. First, let's start with one method, then let's go to the next one, and then finally the final. So, say method one. Method one. Method one. And write down the steps under method one. Then I'll take your method two and method three. Meanwhile, I'll remind you what you studied in your first year. Your first year, you might have studied skewness, kurtosis, IQR. So, is IQR better? This is a word that should not be uttered in public. It's a good one. What's IQR? interquartile. Skewness, I'll show you what skewness, what curves. Those are not bad questions, those are good statistics. I teach you all those things. Right. Let's see how to do. So method one. Method one, please take down the steps. Go to analyze. Analyze. Then descriptive statistics. And go to descriptive. But analyze, descriptive statistics, descriptive. Because why they are generating descriptive statistics. This method one. Right. Again, go to analyze. There is no any urgency. You can take it down your base. Analyze, descriptive statistics, and descriptive. Just take all arrows and write down. Analyze, arrow, descriptive statistics, arrow, descriptive. So there. Then again that dialog box. This dialog box always appears. Don't worry. And then what you have to select? The age variable. For age that we can calculate the descriptive statistics for this. So take the age variable, put it over here. Right. And then go to options. Don't go and press OK. Go to options. The options are there. Options are there. Go to options. Where I went over here, age, then I went to options. Options. And you can see already mean is selected, standard deviation is selected, the minimum is selected, maximum is selected. Why not you also select range? Range. Not selected, and you can select range. So you can say select range. Right. That option also tick. Negative karagan. Then also kurtosis and skewness. I teach you what are these things. Kurtosis and skewness. Kurtosis and skewness. Take a tick. You can tick all this. So now you should have ticked standard deviation, minimum, maximum, range, kurtosis, and skewness. Right? Okay. Then press continue. You can press continue. And you can press OK. Now it's okay to press OK. Press OK. You got a descriptive statistics table, which is below. This is the descriptive statistics table. Okay, I think now you can see the descriptive statistics table. And if you go here, you can see the descriptive table. What are the descriptive statistics here? 10 says the number of observations in this particular data set. It's 439 employees. We understood that earlier. And range says 52. How do you calculate range? I'm your first year of this degree program. They know too. How to calculate the range? How to calculate the range? The difference between range, the difference between maximum and minimum. Into that. So what's the maximum value? 70. Maximum is 70. The minimum is 18. 70 minus 18, how much is that? It's 52. That's the range. Right. Range means the difference between the maximum value and the minimum. That's right. Then the mean is 37. So how did you compute the mean? You take the average. You take the 439 employees' ages and take the average of them. Right? You take the total and divide it by 439. So it comes to how much? 37.34. Standard deviation. The deviation from the standard. Standard deviation means deviation from the standard. Again, the standard deviation. Deviation from the standard. What's the standard here? It says standard deviation. So what's the standard that you are talking about? Mean. How much it deviates from the mean on average? How do you calculate the standard deviation? You don't need to know, but again, just reminding you, take the variance and take the square root. Variance against square root, take the what? Standard. But simply what you have to understand is standard deviation means deviation from the standard plus or minus. So here, if you are to interpret the standard deviation, you can see here. The mean value is how much? 37.3. Standard deviation is how much? 12.9. Let's say 30. Or 12.9 something. 9. 4 or 9.5. So what it says is it should go plus or minus 12.9. 12.9. So 12.95 plus 37.32 is how much? 50.29. So it could go to 50 point this case, 37.34 could go to 50.2, right? Or 37.4 minus 12.95 to this value is whatever the value is. So that's the standard deviation. How much it deviates from the standard. So standard deviation is what? It's a measure of dispersion. How much is dispersed? Standard deviation is measure of dispersion. Now I told you there are 4 categories. Measures of central tendency, dispersion, distribution, and location. Now tell me examples. I have given that already, but let me again go that. Yeah, I have given it here. Yes. Measures of central tendency. What are the examples? Mean, median, and mode. Mean, median, and the mode. Measures of central tendency. It shows what's in the middle. That's why it's called central tendency. Middle. Then dispersion. What are the measures of dispersion? Minimum, maximum, range, IQR, variance, and the standard deviation. I teach you what are these things. Then measures of distribution. What are the distribution? Skewness and curvature. Again, I'll teach you what are those. Good. But now looking at this output that we got, we just got an output here. Now range is what? A measure of what's the range? Dispersion. Minimum, maximum of what? Measures of dispersion. Then mean is what? Central tendency. The central tendency. Then how about standard deviation? It's a measure of what? Dispersion. It says how much it dispersed from mean. The skewness and kurtosis, I'll teach you after the break probably. Those are 2 measures of on what? Distribution. Right? You usually expect a normal curve. So let me, before the break, teach that as well. So we can finish this. So let's go over here. Let's go back to our slideshow, and I have given you some examples here. What are these? Okay. Now you can see over here. Now usually you expect a normal curve. What's a normal curve? Now when you put this data into a histogram, which I'll show you how to do that, you expect the data to follow a normal curve. Normal curve. A symmetrical, nice, bell-shaped curve. But sometimes the data, when you draw the data, you will see it's not the case. It might be skewed. It might be negatively skewed. Negative scheme means the data might be going that way. Or it might be positively skewed, the data might come in this way. So that's the thing. So there might be a case, so the data might be skewed. Skewed the system. What's the other thing that we indicated there? Kurtosis. What is my kurtosis? On the other hand, you expect the normal curve to be a bell-shaped curve like this, but sometimes the data might be peaked. Not that symmetrical, perfectly smooth, symmetrical curvature, it might be peaked. So that's called kurtosis. So if there's kurtosis, you can see there's positive kurtosis if it is peaked. Sometimes the data might be plateaued. You don't get that symmetrical curve, but the data might be plateaued. So then you have a negative curve. So skewness means what? Whether the data is going to what? Towards this way or that way. Negative skewness or negative skewness or positive skewness. Kurtosis means how much the data is peaked. Again, very sorry, these were talked in the first year. So now you are in your finals, right? Very sorry that I'm again reminding you the first year stuff. Yeah. So who taught you statistics in the first year? How is it? Hope that lecture is not there today. You're there. You're not. Just joking. Okay, this is skewness and that's kurtosis, right? So the lecture is today not there today. It is already. Okay, but again, kurtosis and skewness, right? Again, see how simple, right? It tells how simple things are. So let me interpret and then let's take a small break. Right? You can see here. You go back. Go back here. You can see here. The skewness is how much? 0.5. Just ignore standard error. Standard error is not important. Then kurtosis is how much? Minus 0.5. That means it's little bit plateau to draw the data. I'll show you after this. After this we take a break, and then I'll show you how to draw and see the distribution of the data. On the other hand, you can see the skewness is 0.5. The kurtosis is minus 0.58. Right? Now, if there was perfectly normal bell-shaped curve, right, these values should have been 0. Right? Make a perfectly normal curve එකක් විදියට නම් තිබුණේ මේ data. ඒවා 0 වෙනවා. If it is perfectly normal, then it should have been 0. But unfortunately, here it's not. But it's not too high as well. It's only 0.5. It's not 3. Usually, if these values, skewness and kurtosis values are above 3, plus or minus, then that's bad. That's highly skewed, highly curved, and high curves. So therefore, plus or minus 3, above plus or minus 3 is not good. But if it is perfectly normal, it should be 0. Is it 0 here? Yes, all that is 0.5, 0.5, and then minus 0.5. Right? So therefore, please take down a small number. Okay. If the age distribution, is perfectly normal, is perfectly normal, the skewness and kurtosis values, should have been 0. However, the descriptive analysis indicates, the skewness as 0.5. The skewness as 0.50 and the kurtosis as minus 0.58. And therefore, and therefore, we could observe slight skewness and kurtosis. We could observe slight skewness and kurtosis. Right. However, since these values are less than, plus minus 3, we do not see a big issue. In terms of age distribution. So that's how you age distribution. Right? So that's how you would do the analysis and interpret the analysis. So other things are quite obvious. You can tell, okay, the average age is 37. So these embryos are not too old or too young. They are, of course, 37, but not 50 or 55 on average. Right? And the standard deviation is also, yes, it goes up to 50 and 37 minus 25. That's how the distribution goes. And the range is 52, that's quite high, range. That's how you can interpret it. That's how you describe it. This is clear. Right? You now understand what skewness? Skewness is what? To draw the histogram, I'll show you after this, right, how to draw the histogram. And if the data is skewed, the right conclusion. Negative skewness of first. Or the data, whether it's plateaued, or whether it's peaked. That's called what? And here I don't see a major issue because it's not 0, but again it's not about 3 plus or 1. So I don't see a big issue in terms of the data. So likewise, we be able to interpret the data. Right? Okay. So with that, I think I try to get small break, pause. And now the time is 9:30. Based on this, it says 9:30. But because our calculation is 9:35. So please come at 9:50. 50 minutes. Let's say take this. So please come at 10 and we'll continue till 11. Thank you. Right. Now I think you have an idea what kurtosis is, what skewness of it clear. So this is method 1. Now we can really also understand how to postpone, how to draw a histogram. Please take up drawing histogram using SPS. Drawing histogram using SPS. Drawing histogram using SPS. Drawing histogram using SPS. Put a small diagram and say 8 grade. 8 grade. H. 8 grade. So let's see how to perform that action for the 8 grade method. First, go to the data set, into SPSS, relevant data set, the correct one. And go to now, this how we are going to do. you'll go to graphics. You go to graphs. Go to graphs. Then go to legacy diagrams. Go to legacy diagrams. Go to histogram. Now you can put small ampersand right. Graphs, legacy diagrams, histogram. Graph, legacy diagrams, histogram. Is that clear? Right? Okay. And then just press OK. And then it says, okay, for which variable you need the histogram. So let's go for the age variable. So select age and put it under the variable. So take age and put it on the variable. And you can press OK. You get a nice. So you can see majority of the employees are now here it says how many employees, frequency is the number of employees, these are the different ages. Now see who are the majority. Majority are there. You can see the middle. Third is I ask you can remember that it's for 37 point something, 37.34. So yes, the majority are fixed here, and this is one employee is 18, the other employee is 70. That's the 18. Now is it perfectly normal? Is it perfectly normal though? No. It's not perfectly normal. It's slightly skewed as soon as test kurtosis as well. Now, when you see the skewness, we got earlier. It says what? The skewness was positive. Can you see that? So it's this way. That's what we call positive skew. If it comes this way, that's negative skew. But it's not very high. Yeah, it's like completely skewed over here. Slight skewness is there. And what can we say about the kurtosis? The peakness of the data. Is it peak? No. Let's pick up plateau, isn't it? Let's pick plateau. So you can see here. It says what? Kurtosis minus. Minus kurtosis means perfectly normal, then it would have been 0. But here it says minus 0.58. So slightly plateau. Slightly. So exactly what we saw in the theory. Let me show you again the theory. So in theory you can see this is kurtosis, positive kurtosis. Plus kurtosis means that it's peak. Plateau means negative kurtosis. Yes, there's a slight negative kurtosis. And also you can remember, I told you, skewness. If the data goes this way, that's negative skewness. If the data goes this way, this is positive skewness. We saw here in the data slightly what? Positive. That's all. So now you know what skewness, what kurtosis, and how to interpret the data, right? That's it. So difficult. Once the species output is given, what we need to do is just interpret the data. It's not difficult at all. Interpretation is the only thing what you have to do is you can do the interpretation. The SPSS will do the hard lifting, right? But the hard lifting do the computations. And I don't know even in your first year, second year, why did you use the pen and pencil or the calculator to calculate it? Should have been ideally done with what? SPSS. Why you should waste your time when there's a computer, right? Why you should waste it? So therefore, I suggest that statistics should be taught using SPSS rather than doing the calculations by pen and pencil. As well as yes, understand the formula and understand the thing is important, but not to waste the time. Right. So we have discussed method how much? What's the method that we discussed? Method 1. Is that clear? Did you do it? Did you get out? All of it. Now let's try to apply method 2. Take method 2. Method 2. The second one. This is a quite familiar method that you did already. When you see that, you will see our Srilanka. This method number 2. So let me now tell that and how to do the method number 2. Method number 3 is a lengthy output which we will not take it today, which is called the explore command, which gives about 10 to 15 tables, which will interpret approximately. But method 2 is quite simple. Then I ask you to apply these two methods to the salary variable and show me the output. Maybe now it's set to upload. No. I'm not going to do that. So when all are comfortable with computers and everything, we'll see uploading. If not, we'll wait. Right. Now let's see how to perform right method number 2. So method number 2, which you already did. Please take down method number 2, descriptive statistics. Now take down the steps on method 3. You go to analyze. Go to analyze, which you always, for any analysis, you will be going to analyze. Graphics, you will be going to graphs. Right? You go to analyze, then again go to descriptive statistics. And yes, you heard me correct. You go to frequency. You go to frequency. Yes. Earlier also you went there. It goes for the frequency analysis for categorical variables, but now we again go to frequency analysis. Analyze, descriptive statistics, frequencies. Frequencies. You go to frequencies. Now you have some other variables that you took earlier, which is not required now. So why not you press reset? Please press reset. Then it will reset this form, the dialog. Already something that you took earlier is there. Because earlier we did the frequency analysis. But if you start SPSS freshly, it's not there. But since we used frequency, the frequency analysis, if you had shut down the computer or at least restarted SPSS, then this is not there. So if you see this, what you can do is you can press the reset. It will all be clear. So the original setting. And that's it for this dialog. So press reset. All one. Now all again the original factory settings. Oh, at least this dialog. Or you could have taken it back. Now take the age variable. We did earlier for categorical variables. Now it's for a continuous variable. Don't press OK, it's not OK, press OK yet. Go to statistics. You can go to statistics. Here also we have all kinds of statistics. What are statistics you have? You have the mean, median, mode. Now earlier did you see mode? In that earlier option 1, did you see mode? No, it was not. Only here you will see mode. This is the only place in SPSS I can see mode. No else anywhere that you could see mode. So you can click. So these are measures of center of tendency. Mean, median, and the mode. And then you have skewness and kurtosis. Those are measures of dispersion. So why not you select skewness and kurtosis, which we understood earlier. Then also we have measures of dispersion. You can have standard deviation, rate, minimum, maximum. So you have both the minimum, maximum, as well as rate, as well as standard deviation. So it's all there. Also you have a measure of location. A measure of location. I told you measures of location. So what are the locations that are in the data set? Very good. Perfect. So measures of locations are also there. Now, for an example, you don't need to do this, but I show you. To go to your particular slideshow. Now see this diagram. What you have to do is, let's say there are certain numbers. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 numbers. Let's say you have 10 numbers and you have to calculate something called the measures of location. You have to look at the measures of location. First thing what you have to do is, if you are going to take the measures of location, put the data in ascending or descending order. Right? Let's say you have certain numbers that you have to calculate the measure of location. First thing is what? Do it. Put the data in ascending or descending order. Ascending or descending. That's number one. And after that, once you put the data in ascending or descending, now this data is in which order? Ascending or descending order? Ascending. Because the smallest is here, the highest is there. So 62 to 81. So in ascending order, data is. Now if you take the data set and what's at the exact middle? If you put this data, the exact middle point is known as what? That's a location, an important location. What's that node? Median. Exact middle is the median. Ariyatam Malathiri median. Right. So this is the median. Right. In this case, it's calculated at 71. Right. So this is the exact middle. Now if you take the data like this. Okay. Now the data I put in ascending and descending order. This is the lowest and this is the highest. For an example, the exact middle point is known as what? The median. If you take the percentage, what's the percentile? Exact middle is what's the percentile? That's called the 50th percentile. Because it's at the middle. This is the 50th percentile. 50th percentile. 50%. I don't matter. Also, I can break it again here. Take percentile. 20. Then I can break it from here also. Can you tell me what's the percentile for that? 75th. Now these are called measures of location. These are locations. Default location. The exact middle. 25% from the low end, then 75% from the low end. As we call this certain names part as well. quartile. So we call the same thing quartile. So we can call this Q2, quartile number 2. So this should be what? This is quartile. So there are 3 quartiles. Q1 is the 25th percentile. Q2 is what? The 50th percentile. The 3rd percentile is what? Q3, the 75th percentile. So again, the first. That's your question, right? If you cannot remember, don't know. 25th percentile, 50th percentile, which is also known as the median, and the 75th percentile, which is the Q3. So these are called measures of location. And also with this, I need to IQR. What's IQR? IQR. Now let's say for an example, look at this data. What's the range of this data? What's the range of the data? Take the difference between the maximum value and the minimum value. That's right. What's the maximum value? 81. The minimum value is 62. 81 minus 62 is the range. But now I'm going to teach you how to calculate something called IQR. IQR means what? Interquartile range. Please take down IQR, interquartile range. Interquartile range. IQR, interquartile range. How to calculate the IQR? Very easy. Q3 value minus Q1 is what is known as IQR. Interquartile. Q3 minus Q1. Whatever the Q3 value. Now here what's the Q3? Q3 is 77 and Q1 is 64. So 77 minus 64, 30 is the interquartile range. The range is the difference between the maximum value and the minimum value. Interquartile range is the difference between Q3 and Q1. Is it difficult? No. Everything is pieces with truth. Now these are all called measures of what? Location. Like these locations, Q1, Q2, and Q3. While IQR is a measure of what? Dispersion. It shows how much dispersed the data is. How much dispersed the data is. So standard deviation, like the square of that is the variance, standard deviation, the range, the interquartile range, all are measures of dispersion. But here I put to both the measure of dispersion as well as measure of location. That's it. Now what we'll do is, let's go back to SPSS. These theory that you might know that, but if you cannot remember, don't worry, I'll remind you. But again, if you cannot understand, please let me know. I'll be very happy to teach you. Right? Okay, let's go to SPSS again. Right. Now you can say, here now it makes sense. It says quartiles. Can you see that? Quartiles. So why not you press quartiles as well? Quartiles. And if you want certain percentiles, you can even indicate you want these percentiles also. We not do that. It's a quartile. Right? Now, ideally, you should have checked mean, median, and amount, skewness, and kurtosis. Measures of dispersion. So these measures of central tendency, these measures of distribution, skewness and kurtosis. It shows whether the distribution is skewed or if it is peaked. Then measure of dispersion, standard deviation, range. The variance is not required, but standard deviation is taken at minimum, maximum. And also you have what? Measure of location. Measure of location is the quartiles. Q1, Q2, and Q3. Can get that test. Once you tick these things, now press continue. And press OK. Now ignore that frequency table. You do not need that frequency table. You could have taken that tick off, but don't do that. Now look at the first table. The first table, you have got the mean 37.34, median 36. The mode is also given, which you did not see earlier. Right? Earlier, you did not see under the first analysis, did you see the median? Or method number one, if the median are covered. Did you see the median? No. It was not. Here you get a median as well as the mode. Even in method number 3, you will get about 10-15 tables, you don't get the mode. Only under method number 2, you get the mode. Method 2 is the mode, species is then the standard deviation, you get the same value, 12.9, Q was 0.5, curve was is minus 0.58, we got earlier. But now you get the range. Minimum, maximum, 17, 80, 52. And can you see the percentiles are given? So what's Q1? What's Q1? 26. Q2? The 50th percentile, which is 36. Q3? That's what's up. Now, can someone tell me what's IQR? IQR. The difference between Q3 and Q1. What's the Q3? 47. Q1 is 36. Q3 minus Q1. That's how much? 21. 47 minus 26. 21. So easily you could compute these things. In the third way that it's not good to start it today because it has 15 tables that will be 15 sort of tables which I take it deeply. Right. Now there's a task for you. Only a classroom task, don't worry, I'm going to do your homework. It's otherwise that refresher session again. How would also feel like was a practice right? I don't know. Don't. Now use salary, which is the next continuous variable, and can you apply method 1 and method 2? Right? Use the salary variable and apply method 1 and method 2. And show me the results I will be coming. For the people who don't have the laptops, don't worry. You can see what others are doing. You can do it and you can tell me you can do that properly. In that way, it's for you. I don't know. Method 3 under the method 3 ඊට පස්සේ මම මෙහෙම කරන්න what I do is නැත්තම් උදාලගෙන මට චෝදනාවක් එනවා you might accuse me later මොකද කියන්නේ Professor Adjad is monopolizing the real estate right the front real estate of the class he is not allowing us to come and do any presentation so therefore I randomly pick someone out of you and ask you to come and use my computer and show how to do the method 1 and method 2 and interpret the result. No. I know. Continue here. This today is just after person point. Right? The hospitals are understaffed. You have a hospital mission. So they will take your time. Don't worry. I will not ask anyone to talk for us. Yeah, who's the salary rate? Oh, excellent. They are going to draw histograms. Very nice. So, good, good. I think people are doing that well. Now remember, the salaries are in thousands, right? Oh, maybe $200. No. So how to do it? Very easy. You go to SPSS method one. Method one, what you do is you go to SPSS, you go to analysis. You go to analyze. Method one. You go to descriptive, analyze descriptive statistic descriptive. And instead of 8, you select 7. Annual consolidated salary. It's in 1,000 rupees. And you can press OK. You can see the range is there, minimum, maximum, whatever. And make sure that you selected the options, right? So what were the options that you could have selected? You go to analyze statistics, descriptives. So you went to options and you should have selected minimum, maximum, range, courtesy and scale. Okay. You get the same thing, suppose. You can see these are in all thousands. So range is 1,333. Did you get that? Right? And the minimum maximum values. What's the mean value? 1,386. Did you get it? And skewness and courtesies. Do you see it's highly skewed? No. Reasonable. It's less than 3. 1, but again, skewness is -1 and courtesies is 0.4. Yes, skewness is a little bit higher indeed, but courtesies is quite good. Then let's apply method number 2. Analyze descriptive statistics. You can have frequencies. And if you want, you can remove this tick because we don't need frequency tables. But however, let's keep it. It's no problem. Maybe. So age, and you can see the annual consolidated salary. And put it over here. And make sure you go to statistics and tick those things: mean, median, mode, quartiles, standard deviation, range, minimum, maximum, skewness, curve, as we did earlier. Then continue, and you can press OK. Okay, so this is what you have got. Yeah, the mode is how much? 1,666, right? That means 1,166,000, something like that. And then the percentiles are also given that you can calculate easily the IQ one. Okay, so that's how you can apply the knowledge that you got today. So any continuous variable you can apply. Next time I'm going to take you method 3. Method 3 is what we call the explore count. Don't worry about that. It will give a host of things like even capital will test and a lot of other things will be taught. Don't worry about that. We'll take maybe next week entirely we'll confirm on that. So I think that's what we want to discuss. Any questions? Is it clear? So you can see SPSS or the package-based data analysis is not a difficult subject at all. Why? Because package does the thing. And what we need to do? Only to include it. And at the exam, what we do is we give the result, the output, and you have to interpret it. Because why we have to do that? I said after computers then say, you can analyze that. So as soon as we get the computers here, we do that. But even the computers from the other what that package is not there. The package based data, package is not there. The package comes, we start doing that at the exam also. So ask me to do that and come up with it. But for you also, I probably say it will be the output that will be given, and then it will down.
So with that, thank you very much. We'll meet next week.